Let's begin with a question that needs to be asked. What is war, really? Is it the dramatic images caused by tanks, artillery, soldiers, and exploding bombs? If you still imagine war this way, it means you've already lost, not in this war, but in understanding. Because today, the most dangerous fronts do not lie beneath the soil, but flow within fiber optic cables. The deadliest weapons are not made of steel, but of lines of code. And the greatest victories are never celebrated on the main news broadcasts, because you don't even know they've been won. The conflicts that have persisted in the Middle East for centuries now have a new face, and this face appears screenless, silent, and bloodless, yet its consequences are far more lasting than physical wars. We call it cyber warfare, but even that term falls short. I would call it a war of invisible sovereignty, because what is at stake is not land, but the mind, infrastructure, decision-making mechanisms, and ultimately, a nation's free will over its own future. Think about Iran. Since 1979, it has been described as isolated by the Western world, suffocated by sanctions, cornered on every international platform due to its nuclear program. Yet, under this pressure, the country developed a form of genius born of necessity. If you cannot fight conventionally from the outside, you level the field digitally. And Iran didn't just do this. It turned it into a state doctrine. Now let's go back to 2010. The Natanz nuclear facility hosted one of the most advanced centrifuge systems in the world at the time. The heart of Iran's nuclear ambitions beat there, until one day, unexpected malfunctions began. Centrifuges started speeding up and slowing down inexplicably, breaking down on their own. Technicians were confused, engineers panicked, but monitoring systems showed everything as normal, because those systems had already been compromised. And the world learned about Stuxnet, the first kinetically effective cyber weapon in history. Likely the product of a joint US-Israeli operation, it was software that physically destroyed a physical facility without sending a single soldier. Now pause for a second and internalize this. This was a breaking point in the history of warfare. Not like Hiroshima, of course, but in principle, it was the same. A boundary had been crossed, a new door opened, and there was no going back. But this is where revisionist history comes into play. The Western narrative presents Stuxnet as a success story and a legitimate intervention to prevent nuclear proliferation. Yet this narrative can be read in the opposite way. It was an armed attack on the infrastructure of a sovereign state, without any declaration of war, without any international legitimacy mechanism being activated. If Iran had done the same thing to the US, it would have been considered a cause for war. No one would question it. And here, the famous ambiguity of international law comes into play. Cyber warfare has no rules, no boundaries, no accountability mechanisms. It is an arena where the powerful play as they wish, and the weak find the game already over while trying to learn the rules. But Iran did not accept this. This is where the real interesting part begins. After Stuxnet, Iran dramatically increased its investment in cyber capabilities. Like a boxer who decides to go to the gym after taking a punch, training began before the wounds had even healed. In 2012 came the Aramco attack. Saudi Arabia's oil giant saw over 30,000 computers rendered unusable in a single cyber attack. This was not just a corporate attack, it was a message to the balance of power in the Gulf. We are here, we can see you, and we can reach you whenever we want. Now let's move to Israel, because its role in this story goes far beyond that of a mere Western ally. Israel is today one of the most cyber-capable countries in the world. perhaps the most. Unit 8200, the legendary intelligence unit within the Israeli Defense Forces, is described as one of the most advanced cyber intelligence organizations in the world. It feeds dozens of tech startups, global cybersecurity companies, and a network that extends into the corridors of power. Graduates of Unit 8200 laid the groundwork for companies like NSO Group. They developed software like Pegasus, and it was revealed that such tools were used to monitor journalists, activists, and even leaders of allied governments. When this happened, the world talked about it for a few days, and then forgot. And this forgetfulness is the most powerful weapon of cyber warfare: awareness fatigue. Scandals are released quickly, consumed quickly, and then norms are redrawn. Now let's look at the United States. America established its Cyber Command in 2009, and since then, cyber operations have become an integral part of its military strategy. But the question that must be asked is this: against whom does America use this capacity, for what targets, with what legitimacy, and most importantly, who oversees this power? Because in conventional warfare, at least in theory, Congress can exercise oversight, civilian mechanisms can function, and the press can investigate the truth. But who investigates a covert cyber operation? Who weighs its consequences? How is accountability provided to the public? The answer is often no one. And this creates a deep paradox where modern democracies contradict their own foundational principles. The Gulf countries, Bahrain, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, are both buyers and actors in this chess game. By purchasing Pegasus-like software, they monitor opposition figures, journalists, even their own diplomats. Western governments that sell weapons to these countries and share intelligence see this, but ignore it, because strategic interest always outweighs moral consistency. This is not an analysis. It is a historical fact. Now let's turn to philosophy. Clausewitz said that war is the continuation of politics by other means. Today, cyber warfare is exactly that: the continuation of politics, economics, intelligence, and sovereignty through invisible means. But this invisibility creates a new moral problem. In conventional warfare, attacking a country's water infrastructure and causing civilian casualties is considered a war crime. But when the same act is carried out through cyber means, we don't even yet have a common language to discuss it. In 2021, Iran was accused of launching a cyber attack on Israel's drinking water facilities. The goal was to manipulate chlorine levels and harm the population. The attack failed, but even the intent itself was terrifying. Similarly, Iran's nuclear and oil infrastructure has been targeted multiple times. This is not just competition, it is a challenge to how we will define war in the future. Now I need to tell you something that is often overlooked: the role of civilians in this picture. Digital intelligence warfare is not just between states. Every smartphone, every social media account, every messaging app we use has become both a weapon and a battlefield. The encryption of Iranian activists supporting the Green Movement was broken. Saudi opposition communications were monitored. The location data of Hezbollah militants in Lebanon was manipulated. All of this was made possible by the militarization of technologies that you and I use in our daily lives. And no analyst will tell you this in a calm voice. Because what must be said is this: the economic logic of global surveillance capitalism and the needs of military intelligence have become intertwined, and this fusion threatens both democracy and individual freedom. As we come to the end, let's look at the whole picture once more. On one side, the United States and Israel, actors with the most advanced cyber capabilities in the world, conducting operations by exploiting the ambiguity of international law and setting their own standards. On the other side, Iran, a country with relatively limited but highly motivated capabilities, seeking balance against superior powers through asymmetric methods. And in between, societies like the Gulf monarchies, Lebanon, Iraq, and Syria, reduced to both battlefields and chess pieces. It is easy to paint this picture in black and white, to divide it into good and bad. People like that, because uncertainty is uncomfortable. But the truth is this: in this chess game, no side has clean hands. Every side has strategic calculations, and the real victims are always the millions who are not on the battlefield, who do not make decisions, but who are forced to live with the consequences. And perhaps the main thought this text should leave you with is this: how will you recognize when the next great war begins? And what if it has already begun and you never even noticed? The cyberfront is heating up. Digital intelligence power is being sold to the highest bidder. And even as you read, listen, and think about this, you are part of this equation. Because information is no longer power. What matters is who holds that information, who shapes it, and who hides it from you. Don't forget that.
If you find this video interesting, please like and subscribe to discover more.